Standard 9, Political Science, Chapter number 6, International Problems. The visible effects of the decline of the environment are extinction of species of plants and animals, decrease in the fertility of soil, water shortage, fluctuation in the proportion of rainfall, global warming, drying up of rivers and lakes, pollution of rivers and seas, incidence of newer diseases, acid rain, thinning of the ozone layer, etc. This particular paragraph will be the answer to the question short notes on the visible effects of the decline of environment due to pollution. Extinction of the species, the various forms of plants and animals, we are losing them. They are at the point of extinction. We are about to lose them forever. Every year the farmer works on the fields, but the produce coming out of the fields is reducing year after year. Without the use of chemicals and fertilizers, it is not becoming possible to plow the fields. There is water shortage everywhere. The proportion of rainfall falling in various known areas is reducing, and we are having floods in areas where water rainfall does not historically present there. There is global warming. The glaciers are melting. There is drying up of the rivers and lakes. The rivers that need to be clean, they are becoming polluted. The animals in the oceans and the seas, they are getting affected by the pollution. Human beings are seeing newer diseases which we have never heard of are coming out. The very recent example being the coronavirus infection. It started in one place and spread out throughout the world. Even if some of the effects are restricted to particular nations, these problems reach global proportions due to their long-term effects, while some problems are inherently of a global nature. Stockholm to Paris Conference. Now, in order to discuss the immediate and long-term problems related to the environment and to find solutions on them, a United Nations Conference on Human Environment was called at Stockholm from 5th to 16th June in 1972. In this conference, it was stressed that it is the responsibility of all nations to cooperate to overcome pollution. The developing nations feel that the developed nations are more responsible for the decline of the environment, and they should take the responsibility for stopping the decline. Even today, the developing countries take the same position. Now, there is a difference of opinion here. When it was stressed that all the nations need to work together to fight pollution, the countries that are still developing, that are still in the developing stage, they feel that the countries that are already developed, they have developed because of increased industrialization. They are more responsible for creating pollution in the environment, and hence they should be the ones who should spend more money, who should put in more efforts, and who should be at the forefront in fighting the pollution. The developing countries are ready to assist them, they are ready to cooperate with them, but it should be the developed countries which should take more steps in this regard. Another feature of this conference was that the non-governmental organizations working in the field of environmental protection were also present. Apart from the governments of all the countries, even the private organizations which are not funded by the government, even they were present there, and they showed their interest in helping the world change for the better. The issue of the protection of the common global wealth was raised. A consensus emerged that it was the responsibility of all the nations to protect these resources. The natural resources which we find on earth, they are called common global wealth. It was after this conference that the United Nations created the United Nations Environmental Programme. United Nations Environment Programme, which is also called as UNEP. Many international treaties about environment were signed after this conference. Several rules were made about the protection of environment, which the member nations were expected to follow. Environmental movements started on a large scale at national as well as the international level. Non-governmental organizations also assumed a bigger role in the decision-making process at international conferences regarding the environment.